Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of 20s Unlocked. My name is Ben and I'm your host. And today we're exploring the power of having a winning mindset with someone who exemplify focus, discipline, and vision. Meet Firaol Ahmed. How's it going, brother?
Yo, bro, thank you. That was I did not expect that kind of intro, but I appreciate it.
I'm not finished yet.
Okay, okay.
So Firaol is the founder and CEO of Moii Coffee, a software company specializing in logistics with a platform that simplifies every step of the coffee sourcing process, from sampling to delivery. This streamlines the supply chains, guarantee quality, and encourage strong relationship between roasters and farmers. At just 21 years old, Firaol has turned his passion for storytelling and coffee into a growing business. And that's not all. Is a full-time student and a former D1 track and field athlete at St. Louis University. You talk about multitasking, huh? But this proves that a winning mindset isn't just about success, but the grit to pursue your goals relentlessly. Firo has been featured in daily coffee news and recognized for his motivation and leadership. His story embodies the drive to dream big, take risks, and turn challenges into opportunities. And Moii Coffee is more than a business, it's a mission to celebrate culture, create community, and share the rich history of Ethiopian coffee with the world. So, in this episode, we'll cover how Firo balances school, athletics, and entrepreneurship, and the lessons is learned along the way. So, whether you're starting a business or chasing a dream or looking for some inspiration, I truly believe that this episode has something for you. So, let's dive in. All right, brother. Welcome
My
to the
God, I
show.
love it. Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm very happy to have you, man.
Yeah,
Like me and you actually kind of go way back. We met, I think, back in high school. It's like
yep,
2017.
yep.
Um, and It's been really cool to kind of see your upbringing and all the cool stuff you've been able to accomplish at such a young age. So just want to say I'm really proud of you and I'm really excited about this conversation.
I appreciate it, man. And before we get started, I don't want to forget. It's really cool that you're doing this.
Oh,
20s Unlocked. I'll actually tell you a story later on, but it was like my entire mission when I turned 20.
mm.
I actually wrote it down in my journal that the next 10 years will be like, it's gonna be when I'm sprinting for 10 years. I wrote it down and like I've resonated with the concept. So I'm glad I'm here, man.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. We're just
Yeah,
trying. Just trying.
exactly, man. That's all we could do, right?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So my first question, you probably get this a
hmm
lot. How did you get the idea to start Moii Coffee, and what mindset did you have to implement to kind of get that from a vision, from just a dream to actually something that real?
Yeah, so I think if I sit here and I'm like, I got a business plan and I had this vision and all that, it sounds pretty cool, but that's not even close to what got me started. So I hope it inspires people to just go for it. But
Mm-hmm.
in reality, I was running, just finished my freshman year of college, competing at a high level. Obsessed with getting better, so I started running a lot more than I was running in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And before I know, bang, right? Like I had a stress fracture and I couldn't run for 4 months.
Wow.
And I sat there and I'm like, I can't, there's no way I could just sit around and not do
Right.
anything for 4 months.
Right.
So I'm like, let me see what I could do. I thought a couple of business ideas. I was working on something else. NIL has, do you know what NIL is? The name, image, and likeness for student athletes.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so it's pretty much NCAA allowing student athletes to earn money
Wow.
using their names. It's a policy that came out at the time. So I started working on this company that connected student athletes to local businesses. And
Wow.
then, yeah, randomly, like we had gotten some coffee from Ethiopia and I roasted it at home just on a pan, like how we do back home in a traditional way. And I gave it out to some friends and my coach and stuff. And then they thought it was one of the best coffees they've ever had. And I was like, well, maybe I could start selling
Do
this and
something
forget
here.
about NIL. Yeah, maybe there might be something. And then ordered another 30 pounds from Ethiopia. It came here in a suitcase. So I knew someone who was coming back from Ethiopia.
Mm.
I called them, I'm like, hey, you got any spots left in your suitcase? They're like, yeah, I do. I'm like, stash some coffees in there for me, right? They smuggled it in and I roasted it, did my own packaging, built my own website. and then just like put it online. And then all the 30 pounds were gone in a day. And another reason, like to go back to the name 20s Unlocked, I launched the business on my 20th birthday because I set a goal that from 20 to 30, I'm going to be sprinting.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I thought it was a good idea, but now every time my birthday comes around, I'm sitting there and because it's the business anniversary, we get a lot more orders, and I'm having to ship out orders instead of going and enjoying myself,
Wow.
But,
Wow.
yeah,
That's
so
crazy.
I started like that, and one thing led to another. I started learning about coffee more and more. And yeah, before I know, just like and you get to a point, talk about this a lot with people who kind of they want to do something, but they don't go for it. It's like all you have to do is get yourself to a point of no return. For me, it was like when I ordered that 30 pounds of coffee, it got here, and I had this like raw coffee or green coffee that you can't do anything with. You can't drink coffee that's not roasted, right?
You gotta do something with
Sitting under. I'm like, when am I gonna do this? It's under my bed in my dorm room. I have to get rid of it.
Right.
So like I got myself to that point by accident, and then from then on, it was just like it was too deep to get out of it. Even when I realized it was harder than I thought.
Right. So 2 point. So you started the whole business. How long did it take you to build the business, to build the website and all branding? How long did it take you? So because you see, like once you got the coffee and everything, you just build the business. So like, how long did it take you to do all that?
4 weeks.
Wow, that's like a month.
Yeah, 4 weeks. Yeah. And then I also, like, when I say I thought it was cool to launch a business on my birthday, I'm being dead serious. I could have launched it in November, and I was like, you know what? My birthday is coming up. I'm waiting. So yeah, 4 weeks.
And why did you want to do it on your birthday? Is there something in particular?
I mean, I thought, like, at first, I'm like, then I don't have to celebrate twice. I'm not a huge birthday guy. Like, you would not, like, sometimes I forget my own birthdays, and my sister have to be like, dude, what are you doing today? I'm like, what do you mean, So I'm like, yeah, this way I don't have to celebrate two birthdays, one for business anniversary and then one my own birthday. Just one day, celebrate and then
Celebrate both of them.
Get back to work.
Right. What do you define a winning mindset? How do you define it? Again, I go because I've seen you when you started the business, posting on social media, managing, running in school, and it's just really impressive. You don't get there by not having a strong mindset or a winning mindset. So how do you define having a winning mindset for you?
I heard a framework from Naval recently and used that framework for a lot of things. What he said was Naval is like an entrepreneur that you guys should follow, if not, very smart guy. And he said the only true measurement of intelligence is whether you get what you want out of life or not. The only true measurement. And I'm like, that hit me, right? And now the way I think about everything is that whether you have a winning mindset or not, did you get what you want out of life? If you did, then you have a winning mindset. You won, right? If you wanted something and you didn't get what you want out of life, maybe, I mean, as harsh as that sounds, maybe you don't have a winning mindset.
Right.
That is how I think about it. Previously, I used to think of like winning mindset as having this type of thinking like this, being like this, acting like this. But in reality, everyone is so different.
Yeah.
People, what winning means to someone might be, it might not be winning.
Right. It's different.
It might not mean winning to someone else. So yeah, I think now I define it on a more subjective, on like a laid back, using a more subjective and laid back framework is if you got what you want out of life, you won. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I like that way of seeing it. It's because at the end of the day, we all have one life, and so you have to go after the things that you really want. True.
Yep.
And it's scary, because the world tells you there's only one path. You only can do certain things, but at the end of the day, you choose how you want your life to be like. Does it ever scare you? Do you ever feel like you're doing the wrong thing? Or are you like
a lot actually? Yeah. Yeah. No, I do. I mean, not as much anymore.
Okay.
Because like what I learned is you start doubting yourself when you start stepping out of your comfort zone. It's
Mm.
so uncomfortable that you're like, why am I even doing this? Like, what
Yeah,
if I
I heard
do
that.
all this and it's not gonna lead to
Yeah,
anything, right?
yeah, yeah.
But what I realized is like as long as you don't shy away from that thought and you actually embrace it, that's what I did. It's like every time those I was scared or I was doubting myself, I literally just sat there, got it on my phone and thought about it.
Mm.
And a lot of times when I was able to actually embrace that thought, I was able to come out of it with even more clarity and
Okay.
drive than I did going into it, right? And
Right.
over time, you keep doing that and you get to a point where you never have those feelings. Like you
Yep.
stop doubting yourself
Right.
because you've embraced it and you've faced every single doubt in yourself that could ever come out. And you're
Right.
like, it's like email, right? You have inboxes, and if you check through them, you get to a point where you have nothing, and now you're like peaceful. It's the
Mm.
same with our brain. We have all these thoughts. If you just embrace it, whether it's positive or negative, then you get to a point where you don't feel anything anymore. So now I
Mm.
don't feel that way anymore. But just like if I were to go back 6 months or a year, I definitely used to have those like on a weekly basis, asking myself, why am I even doing this? Is this worth it? Or am I missing out on things and such?
Right.
Yep.
Because I think that's the thing with a lot of people, uh,
Hmm.
especially starting this young. Um, you might think like, man, am I on the wrong thing? Or
Yep.
I was able to reconnect with uh, this friend of mine from college a few days ago, and we were having lunch, and he's
Hmm.
telling me how his parents don't really support his dreams and all that, and it just reminded me that people sometimes don't they don't see what you see,
Yep.
so you have to rely on yourself. Sometimes you have to rely on yourself
Exactly.
to do the things
Yep.
that you want to do in life. And I was wondering, like, do you ever feel like you have to rely on yourself to get your goals, or do you? I know, like, there's mentors, there's coaches and business partners, but what's that trust in yourself? Like, do you just have a belief in yourself that you can accomplish your goals?
Uh, yeah, I mean, like I've seen it like with athletics, even in high school, I've kind of like had to work for a lot of things like running, soccer, especially soccer. I had to like
Hmm.
work hard and then I was able to achieve what I wanted. So that gave me confidence by the
Yeah,
time I was 18 and was ready to go to college. I kind of
yeah,
had confidence that as long as I work hard enough, I could
yeah,
do something, right? So coming into business, that's my mindset. It's like if I had done that with athletics, I worked hard and got what I wanted, even though
yeah,
it was kind of unrealistic initially, I could
yeah.
do that with business. And then to go back to your like initial question of like relying on yourself, not kind of listening to people because they might
Mm,
not see what you see. That also like comes from I question everything. Now like I've gotten to a point where I'm so comfortable with just who I am and in my own skin and how I think
yeah.
that I'm like I question why is it that I have to go to college? Is it because I want to go and learn something or is it because that's what I'm expected? That's
That's a
how
good
like
thing, though.
the
To be
society.
honest.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that if you could just like get to a point where it's harder said than done, but get to a point where you just do things because you want to do it and not because someone else expects you to do them or
Mm,
this is what you think you should be doing. Like there's no should, right? You either do it or not. And again, like you mentioned earlier that we're told there's only one right answer. And in life, dude, like you could go so many ways and you could be right. You could choose to do 10 different things that are opposite to each other and
mm-hmm,
still end up okay because
mm-hmm.
as long as you're not making stupid decisions like going to jail and breaking your
Right,
leg or driving at 120 miles an hour, like
right.
everyone knows those are things
Yeah,
that you shouldn't be doing, right?
right.
But as long as you're making decisions that you know have a good outcome and will put you in a better place than you are right now, then it's the right decision. And there's hundred of them out there that you can make.
Do you think that if you weren't an athlete, do you think that you would have
Yep.
the same work ethic that you have now?
No, not at all. Not even close. No, seriously, yeah. Not even close.
I mean, because I'm asking because I heard that on a
Yep.
podcast recently
Yep.
where usually athletes are usually great entrepreneurs because they show that they can manage school and playing sport. That shows that you can first of all you have great time management. Second of all, you're able to build relationship with people. You're flexible, and third, most of all, you just have that strong mindset.
I mean, I think I would have, because I haven't done anything yet. Like,
Mm,
like we haven't even reached 3 mark yet. And most businesses, like once you pass the 3 year mark, then you kind of like, okay, we're not there yet, so we're fine, right?
yeah,
We don't know. We could be like, we're still a startup and 9 out of 10
yeah, of
startups
course.
fail. So I haven't done anything yet, but I think I could have still built it, but not to the same extent.
Okay.
One of the things like athletics taught me is, of course, like time management, right? But you could also learn time management with doing other things. As long as you have a lot going on, it doesn't have to be athletics. You could learn time management. But I
Mm,
think the biggest one for me is like you you develop this character trait that
mm,
obsesses over things that doesn't have a fast outcome. Like when you've played soccer, right? Like
yeah, yeah,
when you're trying to get better at athletics, you're not working 1 week and
yeah,
then expect to be good the next week. Like you
yeah.
have to keep working for
Every day.
years,
Yeah,
and you literally like don't see a result,
yeah,
but you're improving, but it's not to an extent that you're actually noticing how good you're getting. And that is, I think that is my biggest takeaway that helped me become a better human being in general,
mm,
is kind of building that obsessive personality of just getting better,
yeah.
whether I see it or not.
So it is really about delayed gratification. Being an athlete, I mean, like you mentioned, like you can work for 2 years, you not expecting to see the result, but like you just have to show up. As long as you're showing up every day, doing your best, you will see results.
Yep, 100%. Yep, exactly, dude. And like not measuring your success based on the outcome.
Yeah.
Yep, I
Because I
think
think
that's
sometimes
that's the biggest takeaway.
I think sometimes you start something and then you after a week or two or even a month or 2 months you're like I don't see the result, which is why I don't. I mean, I'm saying this in the context of the end of the year and starting a new year.
Hmm.
I don't do
Yep.
New Year's resolutions because of that, because it doesn't really help, to be honest.
Yeah,
Um,
same. I don't like New Year's resolution. Like I like setting yearly goals,
yeah,
but I don't like New Year's resolution.
Yeah, yeah, because
Yep.
it's first of all, you don't typically keep up with whatever goals you set. Usually after a month, you're like, oh, I'm gonna start going to the gym, and then usually after usually, bro, like I tell you, like at my gym, January is
Yeah.
usually the busiest month at my gym, and I
Yep.
usually tell people like, oh, just give it until June, you'll see all these people. They won't even it'll just dry up, and that just goes back to like not set I don't set up yearly goal, but everybody, I usually have my own personal goals that I want to achieve, whether it
Hmm.
is personal growth, financially, in it's just in so many different areas. It's always good to have those goals, but not necessarily like New Year's resolution or whatever.
Yeah. I feel you, dog. I feel the same way.
We're gonna switch to segment of purpose. The sense that I get from you is that what drives you and motivates you is not money, and there is something deeper. And knowing that you're also from Ethiopia, this is something that's really dear to you. So, kind of talk about that and how it contributes to the success so far of More Coffee.
Yep. Yeah, definitely, man. I think I'll divide up that question into two. One is like what drives me in general, and
Okay.
then two is like what drives me with this coffee thing that I'm doing, right? I think the first one is when there's a lot of things, but the biggest one has to be for me, fear of not like being someone who I could have been. Like I fear the idea of being 80 and looking back and be like, damn, like I think I could have done that. I think I could have done this, right?
Yeah,
Just like thinking about that forward, like it
it's
scares
scary.
me. Like the second thing I'm most scared of after death is that. It's like not reaching my potential. So yeah, that's what drives me. And then with coffee, definitely being from Ethiopia and also like having known these farmers and how they live in Ethiopia and then coming here and all of a sudden being in a place where I have the opportunity to make a difference in their
Hmm.
lives. Yeah, that is like it's more than drive. It's as if like I feel like it's my responsibility in a way, you know?
Okay.
to make some kind of impact in their life, because I've seen and known these people growing up. So yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned being scared. I mean, because I also have the same thoughts. I
Yep.
sometimes I tell myself, am I living the life that I want to be proud of when I'm 80 or
Yep.
85? And it's
Yep.
it's just that fear of, like you said, like not living up to whatever you wanted to do, and
Yep.
being on your deathbed and laying there and thinking about, man, I could have done this, I could have started this business, I could have improved my life in this way, in this way, in this way. And so to me, I use that as I kind of like, work backwards, like, okay, like, when I'm 60 or 70, I don't want to regret that I didn't do X, Y, and Z. So, and then I use that to kind of motivate me. Someone even mentioned that this is, I don't want to say funny, but like they mentioned that um act as if you were gonna die tomorrow.
Yeah.
Use that as a motivation
Yeah.
to do
No,
the things you want
seriously.
to do.
Yeah. And I think is I have someone relate to this as well, that Denzel Washington, that's his name, right? The actor.
Yeah,
That he said is like, imagine you're on your deathbed and there is going to be like a bunch of ghosts around you, and each of them represent the things that you could have become that you didn't become. And they're asking you, you could have brought us to life, but you
yeah,
didn't.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's like a whole crazy, but hey, the concept makes sense, right?
It makes
Now
sense.
talk about being scared.
I mean, it is basically all those dead dreams, right?
Yeah,
That you didn't do, and they
seriously,
all
bro.
died. And
Yep.
it's actually a good thing that you're thinking about those things now. That we're thinking about those things now, 20s,
Yeah, I agree.
because sometimes people don't have those realization up until their
Yep.
40s.
Yep.
To me, I mean, for me, I've never always been entrepreneurial,
Hmm.
and I would say that I've had a shift of mindset. I would say like 2 years ago when I turned
Yeah.
24, and
Okay.
there's usually something in life that start to like progressively change your mindset and you start to question things. It's like
Yeah.
not just things, but you start to question people, you question your environments, and you start to change your habits. And so to me, it's just really been a long way. And I mean, I'm still learning, trying to find my purpose, because I think once you find your purpose, that will really drive you to pretty, just do anything, because
Yep.
your purpose is really that feel that will drive your train or whatever to wherever you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, could you, I mean, do you think there's like a specific moment that made you like want to start being entrepreneurial? Like, could you think of anything, or
Yeah,
is it like a combination of a lot of things?
I would say it was mostly it's in working in corporate America.
Hmm. Okay.
That when I started, because when I started, I thought I made it.
Yep.
I did all the right things. Graduated college early, because I was supposed to graduate in 2022, but I finished a
Yep.
couple months earlier. I got a job right after college, and I did all the
Yep.
right things, got all the good grades, but you get there, you're not satisfied, you're not fulfilled, you're not
Yep.
happy. My first job,
Hmm.
I've only lasted 3 months in that job. And after that, I stayed for 2 years. But it was working in corporate America. I realized that I need to figure out something else. What I want to do, what I want to build, so that I don't have to do this for 40 plus years. So
Yep.
that was the first initial motivation. And before, I just wanted to make money and retire early.
Yep.
That was, the prior reason. And then after days goes by, you grow, and then you like, I want to help people. I want to inspire people. I want
Yep.
to build something that people can relate to, that can bring value to people's life. And that realization just came about this year, that I wanted to bring value to people's life. And so, and then once that happened, you begin to slowly change.
Hmm.
And sometimes change means that the people around you don't always understand what is happening. you've always been like this. Why are you just like this now?
Yeah. Tell me about it.
And that comes with losing friends, losing relationships, just and feeling lost. But that's a good thing
Yep.
because that means that you're on the right path.
Yep. I agree.
So,
And Alex, to back that up, Alex Hermosi, I think you know him as well.
mm-hmm.
He has this thing where it's like when you're changing, you're in a weird spot because you're changing that you don't align with your old, right,
Your
old
old self.
friends or
Yeah.
your old environment. And then you're also not good enough for people better than you to recognize you, right?
Mm.
So you're like in between, like you're like, damn, what do I do? But that's when you start doubting yourself. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, like I don't know what I'm doing and all that. Only
Mm.
if you keep going, you keep getting closer to those people above you, and
Mm.
now you have a new environment. But if you quit midway, then now you either stay there alone in the middle of nowhere, or you come back
You
down
come
to
back
where
where
you
you were
were. So
before.
yeah, you don't want to do that. Trust.
I know, definitely like when you started your business, you probably were busy, your mindset were changing and everything. Did you have relationship that you lost that was kind of difficult for you? Like how did you manage that transition period of, you know, changing I don't want to say changing personality, but like just growing.
Yeah, and that's a good clarification because changing and growing is different, right? Like
Right.
changing is you're going from personality A to B.
Right.
Growing is right, growing from the same person.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't think of like any relationships I've lost. I mean, true, like I might have maybe like not spending time with people as much as I used to because I'm running around and trying to deliver coffee and trying to beat Amazon Prime because I told my customers that I have a fast delivery and I have no
I
other
read that.
time left over to go hang out. Yeah, right. It's like it's not like a conscious decision that I was making to say, oh, like I'm not gonna spend time with this person or spend. I don't think that ever happened to me personally from the get-go. Like the people that I've known and like given my time for or like spend time with, I'm always like very intentional on who I spend time with from the get-go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think I remember like making a conscious decision to discontinue a relationship that I had already. But I did start spending less time with people,
With people. Yeah.
which is a sacrifice that have to be made.
Yeah.
And if people get it, if they're the right people.
Yeah. I mean, I think that with success, with wanting to achieve any
Yep,
any ambitious goals that people have, you'd have to pay the price
yep,
for that. And
yep.
I
Pay the
was
price.
thinking about this the other day. It's like, if you wanna have a great life,
Hmm.
achieve your goals, you would have to pay the price for it. It's like everything have a
Yep,
price to pay. Like nothing is free. The
yep,
price for greatness, I guess the cost of greatness is losing friendship,
yep,
working hours, not going out sometimes on the weekend, and that's the cost that you pay to achieve your goal. But when you get
yep,
there, you will be the person that you wanted to become. So that's a great thing. But on the
yep,
other end, the cost of not doing all that is not being the person that you want to
yep,
be.
yep.
So everything has a cost.
Everything has a cost.
It's
Yeah.
gonna pick.
Someone said, you think being great, like the cost of being great is expensive? Wait
Mm,
till the cost of regret. No, wait till you get the bill for regret.
regret. Yep.
It's way more expensive, right?
True.
It's like, yeah, I mean, everything has a cost and we just gotta pick which one we want to pay.
Right. Right. No, I agree. I
Yep.
agree.
I like that.
Let's switch the next segment
Mhm.
here.
Yep.
With everything going on, how do you
Yep.
stay motivated and how do you stay focused? And whenever there is a challenge,
Yep.
how do you bounce back from that?
Everything going on. Motivated. I set high goals. Like I think I don't know if that is affect my motivation, but I rarely think inward and ask myself if I have motivation to do something or not.
Mm,
Like whether I'm feeling like not doing anything or I feel like doing a lot of things. I do what I have to do. Before we pivoted our company to software, we used to sell coffee to consumers directly.
Yeah.
And I think you probably heard this, but like our motto was conquer the day.
Yes.
And the way we define conquer the day, and this had to do with like my own personal beliefs. Because the business was me and I was the business, right? Like you mentioned earlier. It's like doing what you're supposed to do no matter the circumstances. And that started out as like our tagline for the company.
Yeah.
But I had to live what I preach like every day.
Hmm.
Like that was my mindset because
Hmm.
I'm like, this is the tagline for my company. Like,
Yes.
do what you're supposed to do no matter the circumstance. Through that, I needed to live that. And I think like from doing that for more than a year now, it's like, it's my default setting. Like I get up every day. I don't think whether I'm motivated or not. I just think, oh, what is my to-do list?
To do list.
Right? No matter whether I'm motivated or not. So yeah. And then the second part was, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The second part was how do I bounce back
Hmm.
from this one is like let's in terms of in the context of business, right?
Yeah.
Like let's say I'm figuring something out and something goes wrong. And the way I think about it is like you got two ways to go, right? Like now you could either just take the loss and quit and move on, or you could keep going, hopefully turn it into positive so that someday you could look back and say, this actually happened, right? Like if you fail and then you come back and make it work, you have a story. If
Yeah.
you fail and then you actually quit, you failed too, you have no story to tell. You
You
lost
lost.
twice. So why do you want to do that? Yeah, like one you lost, who knows, right? It might
Yeah.
not be in your control that
Yeah.
you faced a setback. But the second one was you definitely lost by making a conscious decision to quit. So I think when you break it down like that, it's like no matter how hard it is, the setbacks you're facing, you look at yourself and you're like, okay, I want to be able to tell this
Hmm.
as a fun story later on
Hmm.
after I make it work. So I'm not gonna quit.
So do you see your life like a book?
Dude, I actually do see my life. I see like a book. I see like a movie. That's why I take a lot of videos. I actually take this, like I have a camera on my desk and every day something happens, like I document on a day-to-day basis. Like every day when something bad happens, something good happens, I document.
Mm.
And my goal is if I ever get to a point where like the company keeps growing and we exit, who knows, for let's say a good amount
Hmm.
and it's like considered a success story,
Hmm.
then I want to be able to pull all the clips out. I'm not going to pull it out now, but I'm just saving them
Just in
for
case,
5 to 10 years from now. Just in case, imagine a lot of times what I ask people is like, not that I mean, am I ambitious? Yes, but like, not that I'm saying I want to be Jeff Bezos. I am ambitious. But imagine if Jeff Bezos took like a bunch of clips of him trying to figure shit out early
imagine.
on, right? So yeah, I document a lot. So I see it more like a movie than a book, but same concept.
I was about to say that, whenever that movie comes out, that would be probably one of the biggest movie of all time.
Whose movie?
Because you don't typically see that behind the scene of, founders when they started and all the struggles.
Yeah,
Most times we like we simply see like they made it. Yes, you might have
yeah,
pictures, documentaries, but the cool thing is like you actually like filming like, all the struggles, all
right.
the like it's like all the early years of the business, and
Yep,
it's just really amazing.
exactly. And I don't want people to get this wrong. Like 90% of startups fail. So there's 90% chance you'll never see these claims, right? But there's 10% chance that you might see them
I
if
see
things
it,
go
yeah.
right. So yeah, why not? Why not just like have them just in case the 10%, uh, I end up being lucky and hit on the 10%.
Hey, brother, I'm telling you, definitely, I know your business is going to go far, and
Thank
Moii
you, bro.
Coffee is going to
Appreciate
be
it.
one of the biggest, if not the biggest, coffee brand
Hey man,
in the world.
don't make me blush on here, man.
No, I
Nah,
mean,
I appreciate it.
no, I'm saying that as as someone that I've known you for a while, and we also both African, brothers. So it's cool to see another African make the impact that you guys are making, and having those big goals that you guys are having. Not just many Africans, but like many young Africans. And so you inspire me. I don't know, if you didn't know, like, when I watch you, I watch all your stuff. You're one of the people that pushes me,
Thank you, bro.
and I can tell that you also have that impact on some of the people around you, friends, family, because one of the great thing about bettering ourselves is
Yep.
at some point, it's not just about us anymore. We become like a light to other people
Mm.
around us. And so I was just wondering, like, do you have like, friends that come to you for business advice, or, how to start a business, and how do you approach that? Do you offer like mentorship, or can you even do that yet?
You see, like I haven't, so a lot of times, like I like to speak from what I'm good at,
Yeah,
which is so far it's not taking a company public and
right,
exiting a company for millions of dollars. I'm not even close to that, right? Even
right.
if it happens. But what I'm good at so far is starting, just like I have very like bias towards action. Like if I
Mm,
think of an idea right now,
mm,
I'm probably doing something about it tomorrow. It's just like my personality. Like I cannot go to sleep knowing that I'm thinking about something and not doing anything about it. So when friends or people come to me, let me charge my laptop so it doesn't die on us. When friends, yeah, when friends and people I know come up to me with business advice and seeking business advice, the most common advice I give always is like just start, like just do something, right? Like take one step, get yourself to a point of no return. Maybe that's buying something and spending money. And then from then on, your customers will lead you in the right direction. I didn't set out to become a software company when I started, right? I just wanted to sell the 30 pounds of coffee that I had
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
gotten here from Ethiopia.
mm-hmm,
And it's the same thing with every business. It's like take that first step.
mm-hmm,
And then as long as you're willing to be open to customer feedback and you're
mm-hmm,
willing to ask questions and learn new things,
mm-hmm.
the market and customers will lead you in the right direction. So just like as Nike says, just do
Just
it,
do it.
just go for it. Yeah.
Does Firewall has have fear? Like, what are some of the things that it's limiting you right now that you might not know? I mean, you might not know, but like, do you think that you have some limiting belief on you right now?
No, I can't think of anything. Like, I think if I obsess over it and the time horizon is long enough, I think I personally believe I could figure anything out. But how correct is that? Like, probably a lot wrong, but
Yeah,
personally, I don't like putting limit on myself. So I
yeah.
just like to think if I extend the time horizon long enough and I'm willing to obsess over this and not worry about anything else,
Mm-hmm.
I could figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a good mindset to have, because the second that you put limit, the second that you say that I can't reach this level, then there's no point of even trying to do anything, because you already putting a ceiling into your potential, and you don't want to do that.
Exactly. Yep. 100%, dude. You explained that well.
So you mentioned that you guys just pivoted recently. So kind of walk me through like the behind the scene, like the why you guys decided to go
Hmm.
from, a company selling coffee, or basically a
Yep.
B2C, business to customer business, to a business to business type of business. So
Business to business.
yeah.
Yep. So it started out with just roasting coffee, selling it online. And then from then, I started approaching local coffee shops saying, hey, you should sell my coffee
Mm,
in your shop. Like put it in your shop so more customers could buy it and you'll sell it to your retail, right? The response I got was we have our own brand and we don't sell other brands in here.
okay.
And then after getting that like from 10 different roasters, I came back and I say, hey, what if I sell you the green coffee and you could label it with your own brand, right? They're
Wow.
like, oh, that could work. Then they're like, oh, that could work. So they start becoming our customers and we
Yeah.
started doing B2B that way.
Yeah.
And they would roast these coffees that they would get from us and they would package it under their own name and they would sell it in their shop to their customers. And then from then we got a lot of roasters, right? Not only here, but across the nation, we've got different roasters.
Mm,
And as I talk to these customers over and over, I kept hearing, uh, hey, like we want to know who behind this coffee is. Like we want to be connected to these people. We want
mm,
to tell their stories, right? They don't tell you one thing about customers is they're not going to tell you how I just said it. Like they will be like, hey, they will ask you a lot about maybe for me, it's like our customers were asking me a lot about farmers. They're asking me about if I have any pictures. They're asking if I would be able to get them on a Zoom call, right?
Yeah.
That tells me that they want to connect directly. So you kind of have to connect the dots.
Yeah.
And then when I talk to farmers, they also kind of wish that, they knew where their coffee was gonna end up,
Right.
or they knew like who's coming back next year to buy coffee so that they could plan their harvest accordingly and they
Okay.
could have peace of mind, right?
Right.
The current supply chain doesn't allow you to do that because there's a lot of middlemen
Yeah.
and a lot of channels between those two parties that if a farmer has no idea whether a buyer from last year is going to come back or not.
Mm.
So after learning this, I figured like, what if we just connect these two parties? Like,
Right.
why not?
Yeah. You're just eliminating all that noise in the between. You're just connecting the.
All the unnecessary channels within in the middle. There is some that you can get rid of, like those you keep, right? Like because all the unnecessary ones that are just buying and selling coffee without adding any value to the coffee,
Mm-hmm.
those we got rid of all of them. And now our platform, roasters could buy coffee directly from farmers.
Mm-hmm.
And then how we make money is instead of buying and selling coffee, we charge you for this delivery service. So think of it like Instacart for sourcing coffee, right?
Mm.
When a roaster buys coffee from a farmer on our platform, we take the coffee and we bring it here for you and
Yeah.
we charge you for shipping fee. So we're a logistics SaaS company in
Mm.
coffee.
Yeah.
I don't know if I explained that well. It's
It made sense.
a bit complex.
No, it made sense. It made sense.
Yeah.
You basically, I mean, like you said, like you're now a logistic company. You're not just selling coffee. Now you're managing the whole logistics.
We streamlining. Yep.
Like streamlining it. So how do you even manage the logistics? Like do you guys have like containers? Do you work with like
Yep.
partners? How's it?
That's a secret sauce. No, no, no.
All
I
right,
mean,
all
this.
right, cool,
So
I get it.
no. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'll share some with you. I'm not gonna go into details,
Yeah,
but
of course.
like, yeah. So what we do is we just have a built-in algorithm into our software,
Mm,
and when we don't own containers, we don't own any trucks, we don't own anything. We pretty much just take different companies that do these things individually, and
okay.
we just like use an algorithm to line them up, right? Like when this company does this, then the next thing happens. So pretty much we're taking everything that's already been done,
Yeah.
but putting it together and create a value that has never been created.
Mm,
So we're not creating anything new. We're just using what already exists to create new value for customers.
interesting. I don't think those type of system exist in many business. I mean, I'm trying to think of it because I mean, as you know, I'm a real estate guy. I'm trying to think of it as in real estate, and in real estate too, there's a
Hmm.
lot of like middle person. You get, as agents, there's these people who are called wholesalers. Basically, they're not buying or selling the house. They're just selling the
Yep.
contract of the house.
Right. Yep.
They're selling it to a buyer or like an investor. So I think sometimes in business, you can always find those pockets where you can,
Yeah, 100%. And the reason I go back to the advice I said earlier of just starting.
mm,
Usually when you're watching any industry from the outside, it
mm,
looks as like clear and smooth as this wall, right?
mm,
Like you don't see anything. And then if you just take that first step and then all of a sudden you're like in the hole and you're in the trenches learning,
hmm
and all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, this is the same industry that I was thinking was like smooth. Because the more you learn about it, the more you start seeing all these holes here and there that you could fill. But if you stay out of it and you say everything is right with this industry, I'm not going to worry about it, I'm not going to do anything,
you're not gonna know.
then you'll never know.
Yeah,
So you have to take that first step, no matter how simple your idea is, until you start learning those, gaps in the market. And then that's when you say, okay, let's pivot now and let's solve a bigger problem.
how's it been so far with you guys pivoting? How's the volume of all the requests you guys are having? Is it like manageable, or what are you guys seeing now?
It's good. So it's a little bit like we're like at maximum right now, right? It's me and my co-founder working. Is over there coding right now, and it's like we're pretty much like we're about to break. Like the demand and like the people reaching out and wanting to connect us with farmers, or farmers onboarding farmers, or reaching out to roasters. But that's a good thing. Like, you always want people, especially early on, like if there is a little bit more demand than you could handle for
Yeah.
what you're building,
Yeah.
then that's a good sign, because that means like the first product is always bad
Yeah.
with anything, especially software. Like the founder of LinkedIn, Jeff Hoffman, yeah, he has the saying where if you're not embarrassed by your first product, you launch too late.
Mm.
Like, so me and my co-founder, when we're getting all this demand, we're thinking like, okay, if one, we're definitely embarrassed of we were, at least we iterated recently, but we were embarrassed of our first product. And on top of that, people think it is still good.
Mm.
That says something, because as we keep iterating and we keep perfecting the model and our platform and everything, then hopefully we could we can make an impact happen. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I know that, you guys just started, and it's still early.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of
yeah,
growth to happen for the software or for the
yeah.
company. You mentioned earlier, I'm not sure if I get it right, but like,
hmm
do you ever think that you'd want to exit one day, or do you think that you would want to do more until?
I mean, definitely. If we get to a point where we're actually considering exit, hopefully that's that 10% that
Yeah.
you succeed and 90% you fail as a startup founder.
Yeah.
But if we get there, yeah, I think I really enjoy like being in the trenches and figuring it out. Like early on, like not having many people who believe in your idea because you're trying to do something new,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to like figure it out. You have to talk to users, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to come up with a solution, and then all of a sudden you have a better solution tomorrow, so you have to change your solution.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy that aspect of a startup. So if we get to a point where we could actually exit, right, I think I'll definitely exit and then go on to do something else that I could go back to the beginning and just be in the trenches and figure it out all over again.
Are you not gonna be sad that you kind of giving away something that you built? Like, do you think about that?
I mean, probably, yeah. I think I haven't thought about that a lot, but I'm sure you would, right? Like,
Yeah.
because especially like if you started out of your dorm room and
Mm-hmm.
it grew a little bit, and it's like a part of you, and like some people, actually most people who don't know me know the name Moii than they know my own name. Like people call me on the streets like, as Moii, I'm like, hey, what's up?
No.
So yeah, right. Like
Funny.
imagine you exit and then people start keep calling you that. I'm sure I probably feel something, but yeah, we'll see. Hopefully we get there, right? Like that's getting there is the hardest part.
So you enjoy mostly working with startups, like working with early companies. That's is that where you feel the most alive? So let's say, when the company grows, to $1 billion company, do you think that you'd have
Yeah.
that same drive anymore?
If that ever happens, dude, I like talking to you, man. You're like
It will.
I'm ambitious. You're forcing me to be even more ambitious. I love it. Yeah. But if that ever happens, like not only do I don't think personally, from just
Mhm.
knowing who I
Mhm.
am, I don't think I'm the right person to run that company, because
Mhm.
it takes different set of people
Yeah.
to like you cannot bring a pirate and tell him to like drive a Navy
Okay.
SEAL boat,
Right.
or
Right.
vice versa, right? You can have a Navy SEAL, whatever you call them,
Yeah.
be on a pilot boat.
Right.
So yeah, it takes different kind of people to grow a company and sustain a company.
Yeah.
And it's actually a lot of founders who go from just an idea and then make something out of the company,
Mm-hmm.
usually give away control later on,
Mm-hmm.
because if they don't, they keep running it like a startup when it's not a startup
Right.
anymore,
Yeah.
and you could run into problems, and you
Right.
don't want
Because
to do that.
by then you'd have like shareholders, all those type of people who just comes in the picture, because now you're publicly traded company in the stock, in the New York Stock Exchange, and you have to make decisions that will bring profit to the shareholders. So, and I imagine that's not something
Yeah,
that you'd enjoy to do.
it's different. Yeah, no, I enjoy. I personally enjoy like feeling like I don't know what the heck I'm doing on a daily
Mm.
basis.
Mm.
Just like getting up and being like what is going on, not knowing anything that I'm doing, and then just having to figure it out.
Okay.
I think that's like where I enjoy that, and also I'm better at that than other things. Like I could just figure stuff out.
I think a really cool business that you could think about in the future is
Mm-hmm.
building a company where young entrepreneurs can come with their ideas, and if they're good, you're gonna work with them, build that company, so that this way you can still
I like that.
be in the trenches with,
Work, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. No, I like that. I like that. The studio, kind of studio.
So now we're gonna kind of head toward the end of the show. I have two questions. First is where do you see you and the company going, and
Mm-hmm.
the second is what advice can you give to young adults, those who are the person who want to start a business but who's afraid.
Okay. Yeah, let's do one by one. So the first one is uh, I have very low attention. Short attention span. Tell me your question again. Yeah, yeah, right.
So the first one was where do you see more coffee? Like what do you think the future of more coffee is, and within the next let's say 5 years?
Yes. So, okay, 5 years. If everything goes according to my plan, and
Mm,
I'm become the luckiest person in the world, and nothing goes wrong, right? Which will never happen.
it will.
I mean, I see us like hopefully being in multiple different countries, connecting farmers directly with roasters, and by then kind of having like the biggest market share, at least in North America, for what we do, which is a SaaS product for the coffee industry, and hopefully beyond, right? Like one of the things we've been realizing recently is not only is coffee facing from the same issues, but chocolate farmers are facing the
Mm,
same issues. Tea farmers are facing the same issues. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we have a couple of other domains like Moii.tea, Moii.chocolate,
opportunities.
you know? Opportunities, man, expansion.
I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's where I see ourselves in 5 years. But again, like it's a startup. All you could do is be ambitious and work hard. And if everything goes to shit, then you find something else to do and use everything you learn to have a higher chance of success on the next thing.
I mean, one of the things that I love that is that you keep saying it's a startup. You keep,
Yep.
like, yes, it is a startup, and despite all the
Yep.
success that you've had so far as a startup, you know,
Yep.
you still tell yourself we haven't done anything yet. And I think that's a great mindset, because when you start to think that, oh, I've done X, Y, and Z, it, you tend to become complacent, and then
Exactly.
you don't push yourself as much. So I think that's a
Yep.
great mindset to have.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, being pessimistic is horrible. Like, you're right. Like, you're dead before you even get started with whatever it is that
Right,
you're building if you're pessimist.
right,
On the opposite end, being too optimistic could also kill you as a startup founder,
yeah,
right? You want to find the balance.
right,
Like, you want to be optimistic,
yeah,
but like there's a saying, right? Prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So when you prepare for the worst, everything good that happens after that is a net positive. It doesn't get any worse. So that's one of the things I learned. Like I'm naturally a very optimistic person.
mm.
Anything that I want to do, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a $1 billion company. But at the same time, like you have to kind of teach yourself to be pessimistic so that when issues come up, you've already thought about it
Yeah.
and you know how to go solve
You
it.
prepare yourself already. What? Yeah. So,
What was your second question?
any advice for the people who are driven and want to accomplish great things, and for those who maybe not, or just wasting their life?
I think for both it's the same advice, right?
Yeah.
Like if you want to do something, it all starts with wanting to do something. If you don't have that, then I don't know what to say. But if you're someone who's got that, who you want to do something, but you just don't know how to go about it,
Mm,
you don't need a manual. Like you don't need something to keep going back to look at the direction you're heading into. Like you'll figure it out,
hmm.
right? It's like if you've ever driven in a dark and you don't like your light is on, but you don't see a mile down the road. Like you
True.
see less than 50 meters, like
Yep.
you don't see past 50 meters ahead of you,
Yeah.
even though you got this beam light, right?
Right.
That's the same thing with life, and especially with a startup is you got a light, but you're not going to see 200 meters down the road. Like you're going to see 50 meters. So you don't need a manual that's going to tell you what's in front of you a mile down the road. So just go for it. If it doesn't work out, there's literally like no cost to starting a company in today's age. Like there's not emotional cost. There's not a, like if you play right, there's not a, like a financial cost.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a spiritual, like there's no cost. Like if you don't have money, go apply for grants. There's billions of dollars being given away to businesses and ideas every year. You just have to find them. Opportunity cost, there's no opportunity cost. Like you could go start a company, work hard, and then you could still go get a job because now you're even more valuable than you were
Right.
before. Because starting a company and doing something is gonna give you a skill set that you won't get otherwise by doing anything else.
True. I agree.
So,
I hope
yep,
you'll heard what the man just said. Um, hey, bro. Honestly, I've
yep,
really enjoyed this conversation.
same, bro,
I lo-
same.
I love the way you think. I love your mindset, and when I say that, I truly believe that this company will go far. I really mean it.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. And I enjoyed our conversation as well. This is fun.
Yeah, bro. Appreciate it. Where can we find you? Social media, LinkedIn.
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn, Firaol Ahmed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on social media, Firaol Ahmed as well. I also write a lot on Substack. I just document my journeys, what I'm learning for through entrepreneurship and also just life. I write maybe once a week or twice a week
Okay.
when I feel inspired to do so. So you
Okay.
could also find me on Substack at Firaol Ahmed, or my newsletter is called Figuring It Out. If you search up Figuring It Out, you'll find it.
Yeah, bro. So we've come to the end of the show. Thank you, brother, for spending an hour with me. I know you're a busy man, so I'm gonna let you go. But thank you guys for tuning in to this episode where we talked about mindsets, and it was just awesome to have this conversation with you. So I really appreciate your time, brother.
It's amazing, bro. Thank you for having me. And yeah, let's keep unlocking these 20s.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, bro. All right, guys.
Love it.
Well, take care.
All right. See you.